mercy of standard, regular medicine. You go to the doctor, they pump you full of antibiotics, you go back for some more, and then ear infections and strep. And my kids just went back to school. We know within 2 weeks of school starting, there's gonna be a cold running around our house. Anybody have kids? Anybody familiar with the colds the first 2 weeks? When they're really young, you know, they have that snot bubble when they breathe. And then as they get older, it evolves into something a little less gross, but very much exhausting. And we try to pump ourselves up. We do everything in our power to boost up our system, but we let one slip through the gate this time, and the cold did make it into our house. First thing we do, apart from taking the one Allimax that we take every day, every single member of my family is now taking 3 Allimax 3 times a day for the next 3 days. So we got sick. You can't avoid them all. And once in a while, it is going to get through, and you're going to feel like, we know the feeling. But by taking Allimax, and I'm going to show you how this works, and we have some case studies that I'm going to share with you, you can actually reduce the time that you're sick, reduce the severity, and also reduce the chances of you getting sick again. So it's pretty powerful stuff. I first met this company at the CHFA show, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and I saw the Allimax booth. Was it about 3 or 4 years ago, Maria?
2 years ago.
Only 2 years ago? Wow. I don't have a great concept of linear time. And I beelined it right to her booth. I swear I almost knocked her over. I was so excited. Said, I've been dealing with your product. It's brand new for me. I was just introduced to it. I had a client with H. pylori, and she was on all kinds of antibiotics. And, well, if anybody here has ever had a customer or a client or an experience with H. pylori, it's very, very difficult. And I had been working on a remedy with her. Her body was craving carbs and things so badly. She needed probiotics, she needed all kinds of things going on. But what are we supposed to do? We needed to kill off the bacteria. We needed to kill things off before we could start rebuilding. And I had a whole protocol using I was using grapeseed oil, oil of oregano. We had, geez, I don't even remember, it was so long ago, because it didn't work. I gave her this long list of expensive supplements and vitamins, and she was taking them, and then she went and got tested. It's a breath test, and the levels came down. 2 weeks later, the levels came back up, and we keep playing this game back and forth, back and forth. And then one time, a teacher who I had gone out for coffee with explained to me Allimax. She's like, have you ever tried it? I said, I've heard of it, you spoke about it once with me. I've never actually tried. She goes, try it. Just try it. Get her off all that other stuff and just try the Allimax. Do you know that within 2 weeks, she blew completely clean? There was no trace of H. pylori left in her body. This is unheard of. I don't know if anybody understands how rare that is. This was a game changer for both myself, my clients, my practice, and my family. This opened up my eyes. I realized there is something special going on here. So I guess I should probably flip through a couple slides, right? So Allimax is the only shelf-stable version of Allicin on the market. There is nothing else like it. But let's talk about garlic for just 1 second. It's been going back over 5,000 years. People have been using garlic in the fight against bacteria and infections and all different types of things. The Egyptians, believe it or not, they found it so valuable that they actually put it into the graves of the pharaohs, including Pharaoh Tutankhamun, King Tut. They found cloves of garlic, dried up of course, in his, what do you call those?
Tombs.
Those tombs, thank you very much. They knew about the power of garlic. They didn't only know that it was helping to fight disease and bacteria, they also thought it had some magical spirit to it as well. Who knows? Maybe it does. You have to plant it in the fall, it doesn't grow until the spring. There's something magical if you ask me about that. Then even in the Greek times, during the original Olympic athletes were given garlic as a performance-enhancing drug. They knew that this was going to increase their energy, increase ATP production, and help them recover more quickly and more fully from any type of stress that their body might have gone through during training or during competition. In Europe, getting closer to today's age, but not quite enough, during the Middle Ages, doctors were wearing masks with garlic in it to help ward off the bubonic plague. People were dying in the streets from this airborne disease, and they were using garlic to combat that quite successfully. And it wasn't very far after that, in 1858, that Louis Pasteur recorded its antibacterial properties. Now, while we all know about the benefits of eating unpasteurized honey and raw foods, there's something very important about pasteurization. And Louis Pasteur was a brilliant, brilliant scientist. And people were dying by the thousands until they were able to figure out how to kill off bacteria and how to manage it. Even in World War I and II, while antibiotics existed, penicillin was readily available till towards the end of World War II, they were still using garlic as an antiseptic in the fight against gangrene. People were losing limbs to infections, and they found that Allicin was able to control that and manage it. So here's the brilliant man, Chester J. Cavalito. He is particularly known for his work with garlic. He is a scientist from America, and he figured out that when garlic is cut open and the enzymes from the outside of the garlic and the inside of the garlic connect, it forms a new compound called allicin. And allicin is the medicinal compound that makes garlic as powerful as it is. We know garlic smells, we know garlic tastes good, we know it can help and fight off bacteria. They've been using it for thousands of years to fight off disease. But it wasn't until this point that they understood that it was this new compound called allicin that was making all the difference. When garlic is crushed, so there's an enzyme on the outside of the bulb, there's an enzyme on the inside. As soon as they come in contact with each other, it's when that new compound is made. There's the medicine. So how is it being stabilized? How is it being segregated from the rest? There's nothing unnatural going on about this. We're actually using water and a flushing system to be able to take it out of the Allimax. So basically they're flushing it through with water. In a very, very simple term, they're flushing it through with water where the allicin becomes stabilized, because it only lasts a couple of minutes once it becomes oxidized. They're able to stabilize it in the water, then they're able to extract it, encapsulate it, and stabilize it for the shelf so that we can enjoy it and we can use it to our own benefit. Nothing like this has ever been done before, and water is the chemical being used. Yes, it's a chemical. Water is a chemical. Okay, so we have so many garlic options, do we not, in our stores? We have aged garlic, we have garlic powders, we've got garlic. What makes Allicin different? Why is Allimax better than any of these other garlic supplements? So if you look really right here, this is hard to imagine, but I'm going to show you soon where we came to these numbers. There's zero allicin in distilled garlic oil and aged garlic extract. You'll find about 5% in a pure garlic powder, and in Allimax, it's 100% allicin. There's the equivalent of 50 bulbs of garlic in every capsule of Allimax. This is powerful stuff.
Of the 180 milligram one?
In the 180, no,
Not the professional stuff?
not the professional one, in the
regular.
standard care ones. Yes, absolutely. So let me go through some of these numbers for you a little bit. There was a clinical study done with 146 volunteers. I'm not going to read you that, but I'm going to give you a nutshell analysis of what was done. Over a 12-week period, half the group was given a placebo, the other half was given Allimax. Results. We want results, right? You don't want to know all the boring numbers and the parts per millions. If you want, put up your hand. Oh yeah, I'd like to say, for years, you can see I'm kind of a high energy guy. I'm not going to say suffer from ADHD. I kind of use ADHD to my advantage, but I pissed off a lot of teachers in my day, and a lot of people have been interrupted by my words. So if at any time you want to interrupt me on behalf of all the teachers of my past, I now give you the right to please just put up your hand and ask me anything, say anything you want at any time.
Go back to that screen.
Sorry?
Go back to that screen. That'd be awesome. I'd like to take a picture.
This screen here?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. If you want to take a picture of it, you absolutely can. So they used a 5-point scale to assess their health and recorded any common cold infections and symptoms in a daily diary. The active treatment group had significantly fewer colds than the placebo group. And I'm going to go through the numbers. If you want to take a picture of this so you can look at it more closely, you can. This is what's amazing. So the double-blind placebo-controlled survey with 146 volunteers. Number of colds in that group, 64 people on the placebo developed a cold, while only 24 people who had taken Allimax developed a cold. Significant difference, especially over a very short period of time. So the average symptom days. So like I said, once in a while, a puck gets through the goalie. And you are gonna get sick, no matter what you do, how much exercise, meditation, proper whole food, good night's sleep. Once in a while, we become exposed to a germ we just cannot fight off. So that's also a great time to take Allimax. People come in, we always say, first sign of a cold, take your supplement, correct? The sooner you can catch it, it's much harder to reverse it, but you can sometimes ward it off. So what happens when you can't do that? Once in a while, you just get hit by it. You can reduce the number of days that you suffer from 5 days to 1.5 days. Now, this is no joke. 4 days ago, I woke up saying, uh-oh, I think I'm getting sick. And I know I have to speak. And when I get sick, it doesn't happen often, but I'm like a big baby. I get sick, like a big baby. But I have 4 kids, and my wife's got enough stuff to take care of. That's my lovely wife who has to take care of everybody. But I immediately ran for the Allimax. I took my 3, 3, and 3 for the next 3 days. Well, still feel a little itchy, a little scratchy. I've been fine, 100% fine. Full air, at the gym, breathing fine, sleeping fine, no coughing, no sneezing, except for the occasional little tickle. So this is true stuff. Imagine getting sick and only having to suffer for a day and a half, whereas you normally would have had to suffer for up to a week. I have clients who suffer for 2, 3 weeks at a time. Oh yeah, Jay, always, I can't get rid of that cold. It's that winter chest cold I always get. You're not supposed to get a winter chest cold, certainly not every year, and certainly not one that doesn't go away. So this is what we do to reduce the actual days that you're gonna feel sick. And this is what excited me the most. Because we can all get sick once in a while. We can all fight it off quite easily if we have decent immune systems and the right tools. But to not get sick again, that's the key. If you're gonna get sick once a year, once every couple of years, it's fine. You deal with it, you work through it, take a day off work, you chill, you watch some Netflix, and you move on with your life. But you don't wanna get sick again. Then the boss starts to worry. Then things start to suffer. We start to get sick more often, and then there starts to be these negative effects from being sick constantly. You're gonna reduce your chances from 16 to 2. So in this study, 16 people, double blind, who told on us? Yes, 16 people on the placebo got a reinfection, and only 2 active on the Allimax only got a reinfection, which is a significant difference, 8 times more successful in the results. So, conclusionary, stabilized Allicin can prevent the common cold. It can shorten the stint that you're gonna be sick. It's gonna reduce the severity of your symptoms, reduce your chances of reinfection, which to me is absolutely the most important. Represents huge savings for the Canadian economy for obvious reasons. The product is very well tolerated because it's food. This is just derived purely from food. There is nothing else you have to worry about, so our bodies can handle it. It can be taken alongside other vitamins and supplements. It can even be taken alongside some medications, most medications. In fact, I am yet to have any negative results from anything, any papers, any clients, anybody I've ever spoken to who've tried it have never had a negative experience. So I've got this guy, Vince. He's an overweight guy who eats pasta 5 days a week, and I go to his office every couple of weeks to talk some business. He's got a daughter who needs some help with something, so we chatted up a little bit. He's an old friend. And he's got a big old belly, and his brother's got a bigger old belly, and well, and they're eating pasta for lunch. Oh yeah, it's just a treat, it's just a treat. Every time I go, it's just a treat, by the way. Melted cheese, all this great stuff on it. But it was about 2 years ago that I suggested he start taking Allimax, just 1 a day. He had some cholesterol problems, he had some blood sugar issues, not surprisingly. His dad died of a heart attack, his uncle died of a heart attack. So I'm very, very comfortable recommending Allimax as a possible cholesterol reduction and blood pressure reducer. It's very, very effective. So I had him taking 1 a day. He calls me, he's like, Jay, I didn't get sick this fall. I always get sick in the fall. I said, it could be the Allimax, who knows? It could be part and parcel to maybe you made some lifestyle change. Jay, I'm not doing any changes, he tells me. He says, just that Allimax. And so now he swears by it. So ever since then, he called me actually yesterday. Again, linear time, not great with it. It was either yesterday or today that he called me to tell me that his son, who's 19 years old and knows absolutely everything, right? Like every other 19-year-old. And he's complaining that he's getting sick. He had a date, he had a job interview, lots of things going on in his life, could not afford to get sick. The timing couldn't have been worse. Vince recommended that Christopher start taking some Allimax. He only took 2. He's like, Dad, I'm not taking 3 pills. He took 2 pills 3 times a day, and it didn't even, that night. So he just started feeling that he was getting sick. By morning, it had been flushed out of his system. By morning, that's how strong this stuff is. If you can nip it in the bud early enough, it can just wipe it right out of your body. You won't even know that you're about to get sick. You won't even feel, you'll forget. So it does a lot of other things than just fight cold. It doesn't only build our immune system, but it boosts our immune system. And there's a good time to do both of those, right? We want to have a strong, efficient immune system, but what we need is once in a while to give it that boost. Because when we run outside without our jackets on to get something from the car, it's not the cold weather that's making us sick. It's that little tiny moment in time where your immune system is completely shut down because it has to deal with the cold. And if you come in contact with a germ during that one microscopic moment, that's when it gets through the goalie. That's when you're going to get sick. So, it's antibacterial, and it is antiviral. It's antifungal. It's anti-cancerous. There's a study, and if you'd like to, please send me an email or send Allimax an email. I can be reached anytime at jasonspilberg.com or at Jason the Nutritionist on social media, and you can ask me for any copies of this that you'd ever want. It lowers cholesterol, it lowers blood pressure, it manages your blood sugar, maybe can reduce it in some cases, but generally helps manage it. And of course, it reduces fat buildup and leads to loss of weight. There's more data needed in that. I'm a huge fan of it. I don't have a weight problem, so I can't personally share any one-on-one anecdotal evidence with you. I do want to go back, though, if you don't mind, to talk about this H. pylori thing. This is a huge factor, and people are being given extremely large doses of antibiotics, and we're becoming resistant to these. And it starts with an ulcer, a little bit of heartburn, and it evolves into this completely unbalanced gut flora situation. And the bad bacteria is killing the good bacteria, and there's no way even a probiotic can live in that environment. It just can't. There's just too much of the bad stuff. So we need to kill off that bacteria as the first step. So what I like to do is I flush out the liver, make it more efficient so that it can help deal with all the dead bacteria, because that's what we're doing. We're killing bacteria. It needs to go somewhere. And Allimax is what I use to kill that right now. Take a look at some of these numbers, if you wouldn't mind. It takes 16 parts per million to fight staph infection. Do you know that in England, they're still using it to fight off staph as opposed to antibiotics in hospitals? This is a regularly used item. They call it Allimor there in, what's it called in England, the Allimax? It's an Alisure. It's called Alisure in England. And they're using it in hospitals to fight off staph infection. We're still using antibiotics here, one after another. You know, the more antibiotics we take, the faster the bacteria can evolve. It only takes 1 generation for bacteria to change. That's why they're becoming resistant to our antibiotics. Our science cannot keep up with how fast bacteria is able to evolve. Yes?
This is killing E. coli 157?
Yes, it is.
The horrible one?
That horrible one. Yeah, absolutely. And we have test studies to show how it works. I even have a couple of pictures.
And it's clinical.
It's absolutely clinical, double-blind placebo studies, and all backed up. I didn't want to bore you with just a bunch of, you know, like 8 font letters on a white background. It's boring. But some people love it.
I love
but
it.
to talk, scientist, at Jason the Nutritionist, connect with me, and I'll send you anything you need, and I can connect you directly with Allimax, anything you want. We're very transparent because, especially me, I love this product. I swear by this product. From Echinacea Golden Seal, plus oregano oil, plus 5,000 IU of vitamin D, 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C twice daily, and chaga, and you might get rid of your cold. That was my old protocol until I met Allimax. And now Allimax and I are best friends. I've got a jar in the cupboard. My daughter, my 16-year-old daughter, who talk about knowing everything, she was just traveling through Europe and the Middle East. And when she moved from Europe into Israel, she developed a little bit of a bacteria. She got some kind of an infection that came with her from Poland, as it turns out, into Israel. And she's like, Daddy, I don't know what to do. I'm really sick. I was just happy she was calling me. I'm not going to lie. How often does she actually call me? And I was super excited to help her out. And I called the owners, and they sent me some Allimax but not on time. I actually went to the store and bought some because I didn't want to give her mine. There's this the little mini boxes of 30, if you've seen them in the stores. I sent her 2 sleeves of those, direct shipped them FedEx, and she was back to normal, hiking and doing whatever she had to do on her trip within 2 days. It took a day to get there, 2 days of Allimax, and she was back on track. And I'm telling you, that trip was not cheap. I wasn't gonna have her wasting her time sitting in a bed wishing she was feeling better. So I delivered that stuff. Oh, I would have swam across the Mediterranean to get it to her, but it's the only thing that worked. And it worked immediately. Other people were on antibiotics that got sick. Other people lost a week of their trip, and she didn't have to. She got to hike. It wasn't 3 days later, she sent a picture of herself rappelling down the side of a cliff in the middle of the, like just next door to this, was it the Negev desert, the Judean desert or something. It was crazy. It worked, and it worked fast. So yes, I know I get excited, but only because I'm trying to express to you, I'm trying to convey how well this stuff works. I could show you pictures and numbers, and by the way, 1 capsule of Allimax is 300 parts per million. So 1 capsule will often be enough. I like to overdo it a little bit, kind of my extreme ways, but I don't get sick anymore. And I feel great, and I work out really hard, and it helps with rebuilding all the cells, and it's an antioxidant, right? And you want to strengthen yourself to do everything. So, before I start going off and babbling off about nothing, let's talk a little bit more about staph. Staph infection is a serious, serious problem. I once had a little staph infection inside my nose. I couldn't get rid of it for 15 years. Allimax to the rescue. So it's involved in 95% of simple cases of eczema. It's present in most cases of acne. It's the cause of a secondary infection and a very prevalent bacteria in psoriasis. So while psoriasis is not necessarily, it's not a virus and it's not a bacteria, it's an autoimmune disease, but present in the flaky, scaly shells, you're gonna find staph infection. And this is highly effective at reducing those numbers and reducing the inflammations and the amount of times that these people are going to have one of these inflammations. So this is how it kills. Work completed at the University of East London. They found 30 bacterial strains were tested. 12 were resistant to pharmaceutical antibiotics. 12 of 30. All strains were sensitive to Allicin. Every one of them. Published in June 2004 in the Journal of Biomedical Science. This isn't Cosmo magazine, this is real stuff. As of April 2014, they've tested over 360 strains of MRSA, and each and every one of them are sensitive to Allicin. This is our biggest problem right now, bacteria-resistant strains. And Allicin, Allimax, is our fight. This is our tool. This is our ammo. We don't need all the other stuff. People will say, oh my God, $69.99. Okay, it's $69.99. Or $29 for the oil of oregano, $39 for the echinacea golden seal. Don't forget your vitamin C, don't forget your vitamin D. You have to take it with you 3 times a day, a little pocket, that has to be refrigerated. No more nonsense. Just take a couple of capsules 3 times a day and that's all you need. The rest will never have to be used again.
Not even cost of that, Jason. If you're losing a day's work and you're not being able to get paid day.
Absolutely. In case nobody heard, she said, not only is there that cost, what about the cost of the day's work that you've lost? Or if you're a business owner, that you can't communicate with your clients. Or you can't even go to a child's play. Or there's so many things involved. When we get sick, life stops around us. Maybe not so much for children, but for adults, everything stops. And we can't afford to do that anymore. And our medical system. The reason we're so lucky to be in Canada, we have medical care. But it doesn't mean that our medical system isn't burdened by people with colds and flus that could avoid them easily. So check this out. These are 2 Petri dishes. Each one contains, that little white dot there is, hold on, let me just get myself going here. The area around the water. So, hold on a second, I'm sorry. Because I want to make sure I don't mess it up. In these types of tests, antibiotics and Allicin were placed on wafers in the Petri dish with staph virus bacteria. It's left to incubate. And if the antibiotic stops the bacteria from growing, there'll be an area around the water where the bacteria will not have grown. So you can see right here that the Allimax actually pushed away the bacteria from the center of it. Now this is actually really interesting. I was gonna do a little, I wish I had a capsule to show you. So, once in a while we cut ourselves, and traditionally my parents, they used to give me polysporin, right? Everybody had polysporin, neosporin, all that stuff. It's petroleum based, it's antibiotics, and it's unnecessary, and I don't really know if it ever did anything. There is a cream available, but all I do at home is I break open a capsule, I mix it up with a little bit of coconut oil, and I now have an ointment for my skin. Look at before and after Allimax treatment, how well and clean it is. I actually cut my hand just this morning, and I was hoping to do a little thing in front of you to show you how well it was, how effective and how fast it is. Within 2 days of applying this coconut oil Allimax cream on my hand, it will have already started to scar over. No itching, doesn't smell of garlic. You can smell it when you open the jar very faintly, but it doesn't burp up. It doesn't keep coming back on us. It's just the Allicin, right? That's all you're getting from it. So these are some of the peer-reviewed published data. The British Journal of Biomedical Science, American Society of Microbiology, the Basel, Switzerland. There's a whole lot of places that you can go and check out this material. It's all backed up through proper science, not just some dopey nutritionist talking to you at the front of a screen with a clicker in his hand. Oh, wrong button, sorry. So, Allimax is also a very unique company. While we are trying to revolutionize the way we fight bacteria and viruses, we're also giving back to society a little bit. We're trying to help people who are in more need, who don't have access to the same kind of things that we do. Check this out. Star Thrower Foundation has 2 educational report centers in north of Haiti. In one mountain village of St. Raphael, currently we support a total of 170 secondary and post-secondary students. They were starting to get sick, and what they did is they were given Allimax to this community as a gift. Please, use this in community. God knows there's going to be another storm before you even finish blinking your eyes. Somehow, they managed to be in the path of every storm, and they're dealing with hardships every single year after year after year. Now, when people come to the clinic, the first thing they say is, W Gen Allimax la? I mean, do you have any Allimax? Because they know how well it was helping them. And they were given this for free, and it was saving their lives. Children's lives, literally. Okay. Is this not a hot topic now, or what? Lyme disease, Lyme disease, Lyme disease. It was about 10 years ago when I became...
Here is one with Lyme disease. That was my question that I wanted to ask you. But that's great.
Fantastic. So, first of all, taking Allimax will help ward off insects like ticks and mosquitoes. Not completely. It's not a spray. It's certainly not any clothing. But you, more than anyone, know how Lyme disease is affecting you. It's affecting your whole system from top to bottom. And Allimax is able to help fight off that disease and lower the reaction that you get from the disease itself. It can ward off the bug and help you recover from it and help you manage it more easily. But after taking the product today, the sore tongue did not return. My ribs are feeling 80% better. My energy is up. I'll continue to take the product for 90 days, 3 times a day, and then continue on a maintenance dose of 1 a day. I've even had romantic thoughts for the first time in a long time, and this person had forgotten what that had felt like. They said that's the icing on the cake. I say staying alive is the icing on the cake, and the other stuff is a lot of fun too. It won't mess up your stomach, you won't have any adverse effects, and it works almost immediately. You can feel the effect within the first day. And they're giving, oh, wrong button, sorry about that. Look at these little guys. How can you have a presentation without a cute, fluffy little animal? So these little hedgehogs are actually being treated with Allimax as well. And it's actually bringing their I don't know what the groups of them are called, but they were having problems repopulating, they were getting sick, they had disease, they were very drawn to bacteria, and now they're actually saving their lives and keeping the whole colony alive with Allimax. And Allicin is the actual component of the Allimax that's making this work. So we're doing some good as well. There's all kinds of thank you letters and can you send us some more? There's a lot of can you send us some more? But we like to give back. And some of us have lost track as to why we got into this industry in the first place. We became store owners and nutritionists and practitioners because we like to help people. If you want to help people, suggest Allimax when they come in when they're sick. Try it yourselves. Give it a shot. I promise you, you will feel a difference. If you don't feel a difference, connect with me personally. I'll have it out with you. I promise you, you will enjoy it.